What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down a wide receiver quiz on how to choose the correct move at the top of the route. So this is a common question that you guys ask. So if you guys have any kind of video feedback or any kind of other content you would like to see, don't hesitate to leave that in the comment section below, fellas. We always appreciate the feedback, and it's always great to hear from you guys. So if you're not familiar with our quiz-style format video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a pre-snap look versus a man coverage concept on these 3 clips today, and I'm going to ask you guys a specific question about a move or a couple of moves that you can use at the top of the route. You guys are going to pause the video, think about what you would do, play the video, and I'm going to break it down. So test yourself, fellas. Test yourself. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper while we're going through this thing, okay? So now, what the first question is going to be is we got a 10-yard out route, so that's going to be the route we're discussing. What are 2 moves that you can use at the top of the break if the DB plays this well and you're not able to restack and you're taking an outside release? So outside release, what are 2 moves that you can use at the top of the route if the DB plays it correctly and he is hip to hip with you, okay? So you guys can go ahead and pause the video. And now we're going to break this thing down, okay? So now, anytime that you have man coverage, right, and you're able to take an outside release on an outside breaking route, one of 2 things that you could do if you don't restack. So the restack is completely out of the question. Obviously, the goal on every single route is that I'm able to restack, get back over the top, DB trails my hip, and then I could give a move at the top or what have you. But if he plays this thing well and he's running hip to hip with you, you got to have a plan off the line. As a wide receiver, a lot of the things that we do are based off of reaction. And all this stuff has to happen fast, fellas. I can't be thinking about a million things when I come up to the line in the game because, quite frankly, I'm just going to play slow. So when we come up to the line, my initial goal is, okay, I'm going to restack. But if he plays it well, I'm going to do this. So if we take the outside release, 2 moves that you can use, if this is what you said, you'd be correct, is a peek back move or a chicken wing move where you lean into the DB. So let me explain. So we're going to be looking at this. He uses a dive release here to get the outside release, and he does this little peek back at the top for a split second. Now, when I'm at the top of the break here, this DB, again, we're not beating him. We're not restacking, so we still got to make sure that we get some separation. So when I'm running hip to hip with him, I could either do where I lean into him. If he's being a little bit more physical and he's got hands on me, I could lean into him with my shoulder and with my hip and give that little like push off, but not really a push off, where you kind of just use your momentum to lean into him and then break it off. Or I could throw those eyes to make him think that I'm doing an outside release 9 like this DB or this wide receiver does right here, get him to sit on the fade, and then I break this thing right off. So those are the 2 moves that I like when you take the outside release on a 10-yard out. We cannot do something like a rocker step in this situation because he's hip to hip with me, right? That's not really going to do anything. That's not going to sell an inside breaking route. I got to make sure that I either peek back with my eyes or I get that little lean into him. Those are the 2 most efficient ways to run that out route with an outside release versus this man coverage concept. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. So let's go dive release to the inside, pushes back up vertical, and gives that little head fake at the top to create that separation. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at this off man coverage look, and we're going to mainly be focusing on one of the best moves that you can use against off man coverage in this specific case. Okay, but before we get into this second question, fellas, this offseason we are going to be traveling out to 8 different cities across the United States for 2-day-long quarterback and wide receiver training camps. So if you guys are local to Houston, Texas, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, or Los Angeles, California, we would absolutely love to have you out to one of our quarterback and wide receiver camps. So check out that very first link in the description below. That's where all the info is on all of these camps. We give you the exact schedule and exactly what's going to be covered at these camps. Now, spots are limited for these camps, fellas, because we actually want to take the time to coach you. So many camps across the country, their goal is to get as many kids out there as possible, regardless if the quality of work is good, regardless if they're able to actually teach you. That is not what we are trying to do. We're limiting spots to only 10 to 12 guys. So you're going to be in a group of, at the absolute max, only 11 other people, because we actually want to take the time to coach you. And we can't do that, but we have you for 2 whole days, 4 hours each day. And if you make a mistake, we're going to correct you. We're going to tell you what you did wrong and how you could get better. So if you're looking for that kind of development and that kind of skill building, no matter what level of football you're at, check out that very first link in the description below. You guys will not regret it. You guys will get a ton of great work in with myself and my staff of coaches that I will be bringing out there. Okay, so very first link in the description below. You guys would really love to have you out to one of our off-season camps if you're local or would like to travel out to one of those 8 cities. Let's get back to this video. So now, this move right here, inside shade off man coverage, right? So I'm going to ask you guys, first question, how would you guys use a rocker step if you had to run a corner route? Okay, so a corner route, how would you guys apply a rocker step? So you guys can go ahead and pause the video. And for anybody that doesn't know, a rocker step is like that two-step break where you just go like if you're running an outside breaking route, you instead of just breaking off the inside foot, you go outside foot, then inside foot. It's like a double up at the top of the break, essentially. So how would you guys use a rocker step against this coverage? You guys can go ahead and pause the video. And now we're going to break this thing down. Okay, so now, if you guys said you want to work, attack him, then burst up, work to restack, then use the rocker step, then go, you would be correct if he was maybe 2 to 3 yards closer. Now, since he's an off-man coverage and he's about maybe like, I would say 6 to 7 yards off, and you have to run this route maybe at like 10 yards, I would say what you want to do is you want to attack his leverage and use the rocker step at the top of the move when you square him up. Now, again, the thing that a lot of wide receivers get tripped up in with one-on-ones is that they don't understand the concept of depth because it's not as important, right? You're the only receiver on the field in one-on-ones. You're in 7-on-7, spacing, I guess, matters, but, it's still t-shirt and shorts ball. But when you get full pads on and you got 3 other receivers out there running routes on you, your spacing matters, the timing matters, and where you break the route off, the depth of it, that 100% matters. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people can't do that. And in one-on-ones, what they do is they'll go up to this DB, they'll attack him, they'll push up deeper, 10 more yards to make sure they restack, use the move. And by that time, the quarterback's taken 3 hitches and the ball's late. So we got to make sure that we keep timing with the quarterback. So you would want to attack his leverage because when you attack an inside shade guy, what's he going to do? He's going to keep his leverage, right? He's going to keep his leverage or maybe backpedal a tad. If he's on the goal line, he's going to sit. Then I would want to work that crossover to threaten him to the inside. Now, why would you use a rocker step here? So I'm going to play this full speed. So you see how he attacks him, squares him up, gives him the 1-2. And again, this is more like an out route, but it'd be the same exact concept if it was a corner route. That's what you'd want to do. You'd want to attack him. You'd want to get him to move off that platform to the inside and threaten him inside. So why would you use a rocker step? Because again, this DB's what? He's inside shade, off man coverage. So his number one goal is to not let you win to the inside. He will not let you run a dig. He's not going to let you cross his face and run a post. So if you attack him and you threaten him with the move, he's going to jump. And guess what? That opens up all kinds of space for you to the outside. But how we would use it is we would want to attack him, then give the move. Do not worry about attacking him, giving him a quick move, then working to restack, then working the rocker step at the top. That's doing too much. Keep it simple. Make your moves efficient. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job with that rocker step. Great job threatening him inside and then getting space on that out route, or you could use a corner route. Okay, so last clip we're going to be looking at here is going to be this outside shade man coverage look. Now, I want you to think about, there's 2 parts to this question. Number 1, what is your initial plan at the top of the route? So what is your initial plan? Walking up to the line of scrimmage, you see this coverage. What are you thinking about doing, number 1? Number 2, if the DB plays it well, what are you going to do if you have to run a 10-yard out? So initially, what is your plan of action if you have to run a 10-yard out? This is your number 1 thing that you're trying to do. Number 2, if the DB plays it well, what are you going to do at the top of the route to create separation as a reaction? Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So you guys can go ahead and pause the video. And now we're going to break this thing down, okay? So now, plan of action always needs to be what? We talked about this a little bit on the first clip. It needs to be restack. So you can't be thinking off the line of scrimmage, okay, I'm going to throw by at the top. That's not how we want to think. That's a reaction. Okay, so and again, like I said, we can't be thinking about a ton of stuff at the top of the route, thinking about a ton of stuff off the line of scrimmage, because we're going to be thinking about too much and we're going to play slow because we're overthinking it. It's got to be a reaction. You see this coverage? Okay, that's my reaction. Bam, I have a plan already going into the game. The reason why we break down film is because this is how you guys need to study film on your own time. You're studying DBs that you're going to be going against on a weekly basis or on a Friday night or whatever. You got to know already how they're going to be playing you walking into that game. That's how you prepare. That's how you can be a technician. You have to study this stuff. So when you get into a game, you can play fast. Devontae Adams, one of the best guys off the line, but he plays extremely fast. He does not look like he's thinking about anything out there. It looks like he's reacting because it is a structured plan. So your number 1 goal on this needs to be, okay, I'm going to restack. I'm going to threaten him to the outside. I'm going to threaten his leverage, and I'm going to work to restack over the top so I can make this move. Now, If he plays it well, what's something I could do? If we're running downfield and I have to do an outside breaking route and he plays it well, I would want to throw by. So he would hit hip to hip with me and I would throw him by at his hip or at his shoulder and slip underneath on the out route. We all can agree that we would not force the outside release on this because we got to keep space for my quarterback to lead me. I hope you guys knew that. If any of you guys thought, okay, I'm going to take the outside release and work to restack, that's incorrect. So let's play this thing full speed. So he does a great job of doing the split release. This DB's playing it well, and you see the throw by technique that he uses because nobody obviously plans to get locked up at the top of the break. It's a reaction. So if I can restack over the top, and he's trailing my hip, then yeah, I can give a move. And that's always got to be my mindset. But if this guy's hip to hip with me, I need to make sure I have a reaction. He's shooting a hands. He's getting physical into me. I'm either throwing him by at the back of the shoulder like so, back of the hip, and slipping back underneath. That is my reaction, and that is how I have to play this specific route. So if that's what you guys said, that is 100% correct. Know this, fellas, top of the route, there's a ton of different things you can do. But using the correct move is all based off of a reaction and an initial plan that you have off the line. And it has to happen fast. It has to be repped out so we can play fast in an actual game. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job pushing up vertical, getting his hips to flip, and then using that throw by at the last possible second to get some space. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, you don't hesitate to leave that in the comment section below. We'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I always appreciate the feedback, and it's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you would like a full off-season training camp to attend in one of our 8 cities that we are traveling out to, check out that very first link in the description below. We're coming out to Houston. Our Newark, New Jersey camp is completely sold out, so you'd have to come out to either our Atlanta camp, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, or Los Angeles, California camp. So again, limited spots. We'll have DBs out there for the wide receivers to work one-on-ones both days. A lot of work, 3 hours each day of position-specific work, speed work to help your 40-yard dash improve in the works. So check out that very first link in the description below, fellas. We'd absolutely love to have you out. I'll see you guys next time.